let me just go over some headlines last week. And this is just one day's headlines, okay? Riots in France have now become anti-Semitic. Okay? Now we were told that the riots were a George Floyd moment. No, they're not. It's a massive problem with immigration. And who did this immigration over in Europe? Who was the one pushing for it? Were there people of France? Were the people of England or the people of Germany? Were they pushing all this immigration? Were they opening their arms and saying, oh, we want everyone from Syria. We want everybody that can come in. Iran, come on in. Were they saying that? No, they weren't. And who was it? It was the United Nations, okay? And the global government corporations that were saying that. And we were saying the whole time, it's fine if you want to become French. But they don't want to become French. And now you have riots, and they've become anti-Semitic. What a surprise. Next headline from the New York Post. America's beaches are covered in poop. Unsafe. 55% of more than 3,100 beaches were tested in 2022, and they had fecal contamination. Oh. At unsafe levels. Hey, everybody, let's go to the beach this summer, shall we? Antibiotic shortages expected to worsen, huh? Why do we have antibiotic shortages? Why do we have that? Why? Well, because we're building a global community. Even though we said, hey, let's make sure that we have jobs, even though we have a government that is supposed to protect our rights. If you don't have antibiotics, what do you have? What do you have if everybody is dying from an impacted tooth? What do you have? Meanwhile, 50 Cent has said that LA is doomed because the city has reinstated their no bail policy. He said, quote, watch how bad it's going to get. New York's drug supply is the most dangerous level ever. Well, that's great. Brown University students are identifying as LGBTQIA2S+. Yeah. It's doubled in the last 10 years. It's now at 40% of the Brown University students are now saying they're LGBTQ+. Really? Meanwhile, Joe Rogan had the proper response after NBC posted a claim that white supremacists online were trying to use physical fitness in order to seduce people to come on in and, be a white supremacist. And to be a white supremacist, apparently you're fit when you're a white supremacist. Let's see. New York City is now proposing hiring a private security for their migrant facilities. Wait, what? What is that? It says they're too volatile and too dangerous for unarmed peace officers, says New York. However, they want you to know that while on one hand, the city is telling you how safe these migrant centers are in their own neighborhood, the city is spending at the same time millions of dollars to keep people safe at these migrant facilities. So it must be the facility itself. The mayor says the primary role of security is to ensure the safety of guests and staff while creating a welcome, safe space for all individuals. No, if those individuals are violent, I don't want a safe space for them. I want them on a plane headed back and never coming back. But, that's just not possible. Let's see, a new report A new report from San Francisco, the Chronicle, found that sanctuary city policies has aided the drug dealers from Honduras so much they are sending so much money home that in Honduras the real estate there has boomed. See, this is the plan. Is this your plan? Is it your plan to have poop on our streets and on our beaches, crime in our cities, migrants everywhere? There's absolute chaos. Is it your idea to have so much drug activity on the ground that they're taking your money and shipping it out to another country? They're getting rich on our drug-addled cities. It's nothing but it's the drug cartels that are getting rich and taking your money and my money out and giving it to third world countries. That's just great. We're giving it to criminals. Criminals, why? Because we have no faith in anything anymore. You don't have a drug problem in a country that doesn't want to have a drug problem, that doesn't take drugs. By the way, Politico is reporting digital money is getting closer. And Axios, how AI will turbocharge misinformation. And John Kerry told us that the problem with the Ukraine war is not that it's Ukraine war. The problem is that it's contributing to climate change. I mean, sure, 50,000 Russians have been killed in the war, and untold numbers of on the Ukrainian side. But the real problem with the war in Ukraine is climate change. And meanwhile, we just found out that the Russians infiltrated the Ukrainian intel, and they used the FBI to censor social media. Does anybody have a problem with that? Or maybe the Chinese military is training kindergartners for war in boot camps all across the country. Kindergartners. And what are we teaching them? That their private parts can be removable at any time they want. And a lawsuit in Massachusetts, Google has put spyware on residents' phones. Did you know that? Well, it wasn't just Google. Massachusetts Department of Public Health allegedly colluded with Google to secretly install COVID tracking spyware on smartphones of more than 1 million citizens in Massachusetts without their knowledge, without their consent, and they made it possible for people to even find, or they made it impossible for people to find it or even to take it off. They were tracking people. They have access to your email in an unbelievable step towards China, as the new Civil Liberties Alliance group is suing them. Massachusetts and the governor says, well, but I mean, COVID is like over, so, we're not using it anymore. Why are you still suing us? Meanwhile, the feds had to have a judge tell them to take free speech training before asking social media to censor. The United States government. Your president went in front of a judge and said, hey, I mean, we gotta talk to social media. Can you lift this injunction? And he said no. No, if the defendant's interpretation was accepted, an agency could simply instruct a sub-agency to perform the prohibited act and avoid the consequences of an injunction. Violation of the First Amendment constitutional right, even for a short period of time, is always irreparable injury. You had to tell the President of the United States that. Meanwhile, you got Congress. They're on top of it. The House Financial Services Committee, they're going to hold some separate hearings to examine ESG, environmental, social, and corporate governance investing, whether or not that's going to affect things in a negative way for people. I mean, the last time that they debated ESG, it just went into yelling at one another. Just completely devolved into combative debate over race and the term woke. Oh, God. So what state is America in today? The New York Times looked at 37 cities across the U.S. with data from just the first 3 months of 2021. There has been an 18% increase in murders over the same period of 2020. And they said at the time it may be hard because the FBI is changing the way the crime figures are reported, so it might be difficult to identify national trends after 2021. They looked at data from 70 urban areas for the first half of 2022 and compared it with the same period of 21, and they found they were increases of murders in 30 areas, similar trend identified by the Council of Criminal Justice. And this is a report from July, which looked at 10 categories of violent property or drug offenses of 29 cities. They found the number of homicides declined slightly in the first half of 2020, that's good, compared with the same period to the last year, but the homicide rate is still 39% higher. That kind of sucks, right? Across the 29 different measurements, 38% of Americans say, quote, I guess I'm satisfied. When you break it down, by all the aspects of life and policy issues, the same story emerges. Let's see here. 41% are satisfied on the 7 aspects of life measured consistently over the last decades. That includes the quality of life, the system of government, how it works, influence of religion. 41% is statistically insignificant difference from the 39% that were satisfied last year, and last year was the lowest on record. So, faith in policy that we have reduced crime, the state of economy, quality of education, 35%. That's the lowest ever measured. Majority say that they are 62% of Americans, as majorities, say they fearful. They're fearful, 62%. Angry is 55%. As they think of our country, fewer than half feel hopeful, and only 20% now say they feel proud. Meanwhile, the religious landscape of the United States continues to change at a rapid clip. 65% of American adults describe themselves as Christians when asked about their religion. Yeah, that's down 12 points. A few weeks ago, Boston played host to the largest satanic gathering in history. SatanCon kicked off. Meanwhile, NPR says American satanic panic returns, this time through QAnon, and that's why we want to save the children, just, because QAnon. Meanwhile, The Atlantic says, why is witchcraft on the rise? Our borders break new records every day. 1.6 million encounters so far in 2023. So far, 204,000 in May. 88,000 are unaccompanied minors. That was in 2023. Is 7,553 criminals crossed the border in 2023 so far. Okay. 365 sex offenders crossed in 2022, and 184 have crossed so far in 23. There's an epidemic of missing children. What's causing that? Huh? By the way, a survey of U.S. adults, especially millennials like myself, increasingly endorse Marxism and the rejection of private property and traditional morality. According to Pew, 50% of Americans now believe colleges and universities are having a positive effect. Only 50. 38% say they are having a negative effect. I can't believe it's that high. When Pew inquired on opinions on technology companies, churches, religious organizations, national news medias, banks, large corporations, labor unions, it found that no more than half of the U.S. believed any of them were having a positive impact on the country. All right. So there's the problem. Now, do you want to live this way? Or do you want to fix it?